Welcome to Pharma Stability Series. If you want to understand stability studies in a simple, practical, and regulatory-focused way, you are in the right place. In this video, we will break down a key stability topic step by step, including its scientific basis, regulatory importance, and common industry expectations. So let's get started.
You know, in the world of medicine, some words sound so similar you'd swear they mean the same thing, but getting them wrong, that can have some really serious consequences. Today, we're going to look at two of those terms, retest dates and expiry dates.
So, let's just get right to it. You're probably thinking, okay, a resize date, it's just a fancy way of saying expiry date, isn't it? And you know what? On the surface, that seems pretty logical.
But it's wrong. And look, this isn't just some tiny mix-up. In the world of medicine, this one little piece of confusion can have major consequences for literally everyone involved, from the people on the factory floor all the way to the patient.
All right, so let's break this down properly. As you're about to see, these two terms really do belong in two completely different worlds.
Okay, so this slide just lays it all out nice and simple. On the left, you've got the retest date. This is for raw ingredients, what we call APIs. Think of it as a calendar reminder to check if something is still good enough to be used in manufacturing. But on the right, you've got the expiration date. This is for the finished drug, the one you actually get at the pharmacy. And its meaning is absolute. It's a hard stop, do not use.
Let's zoom in on that retest date for a sec. The best way to think about it is like a checkpoint, not a cliff. It's simply the scheduled day to pull a raw ingredient, the API, and test it again to make sure it still meets all the quality standards. It is not a signal to automatically throw it out.
The expiry date, though, that is the cliff. It's the absolute final day that a finished drug is guaranteed to be safe and effective based on tons of stability studies. After this date, there are no second chances, no retesting. The road just ends here.
So you might be asking, why even have two systems? Why make it so complicated? Well, it all boils down to different materials and, this is the crucial part, very, very different levels of risk.
This journey right here shows you exactly why we need both dates. You start with the raw material, the API, which sits in a controlled warehouse and can be checked again before it's used. Then it moves into manufacturing, where it gets turned into the final drug. And finally, you get the finished product all sealed up and ready to go to a patient. Each of these stages has a completely different risk profile.
So here's the bottom line. The risks just are not the same. You have a chance to recheck a raw material before you ever make anything with it. But a finished product that's already out there in the world, it has to be rock solid, 100% reliable, right up until that final day stamped on the box. No exceptions.
Okay, so we get the why now. But the real gut punch comes when you see the actual consequences of getting this wrong. Let's take a look at what's really at stake here.
This slide shows the two big ways you can screw this up. On the left, if you treat a retest date like an expiry date, you end up throwing away perfectly good and often really expensive raw materials. It's just wasteful and it costs a ton of money. But the mistake on the right, that's way more dangerous. If you treat a final expiry date like it's just a suggestion for a retest, you create this massive, unacceptable risk of giving a degraded or ineffective product to patients. And that's a line you just can't cross.
And this kind of confusion isn't a small problem. It creates this huge ripple effect. It causes headaches everywhere, from the quality control labs and warehouses to the paperwork you file with regulators and even the accuracy of the final label. Honestly, this is exactly the kind of basic error that inspectors are trained to spot from a mile away.
So, how do we make sure this sticks? How do you lock this in and never ever get them confused again? Well, here's the ultimate litmus test. If you only remember one thing from all this, make it what's on this slide. The retest date asks a manufacturing question, can we still use this ingredient to make something? But the expiry date asks a patient safety question, can a person still trust this medicine to be safe and effective? They are two profoundly different questions with life-or-death implications.
So you see, in the end, getting this right isn't just about memorizing a couple of definitions, it's proof. It's a sign that you actually understand the entire quality process, from the raw powder all the way to the final pill. It shows you get the logic behind every single quality decision.
And that leaves me with one last thought for you. We've just seen how one simple little detail can have a massive impact in the world of pharma. So what about in your world? What are the simple, easy to confuse details that have a huge impact where you work?
If this helped, like and subscribe.